make your strumming technique more musical and interesting? Should you learn more strumming patterns? Well, of course guys, that will definitely help. However, there is a way to make your strumming technique more interesting that has nothing to do with learning more strumming patterns. Now I'm gonna play the same chord progression twice, and then you tell me what's the difference. Of course, they are both played with almost the same strumming pattern. However, the second chord progression sounded busier. So I was able to make this strumming more interesting by making the chords more interesting. Now I'm going to show you this system and how it's done. Obviously guys, it doesn't mean that every time you play a chord progression you want to move the chords as much as you can. You don't want to do this all the time. You want to use this system with purpose. So maybe just apply it every now and then in your playing. By the way guys, I made a video in which I show you 5 strumming tricks. Make sure that you check it out. I'm gonna leave the link in the description down below. It has a lot of great tips for strumming. We will be using 5 chords from the D major key. There are 7 chords: the D major, E minor, F sharp minor and G, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, and back to the D major. But we will only use 5 chords: the D major, the E minor, the G major, A major, and the B minor chord. Now the first thing I want you to notice is that a chord can give you a lot of different colors. When we strum a chord, we think of it as just a block of notes that we play together. However, when I play this D major chord, I can have, for example, 3 different colors. If I strum the chord with just the D string and the G string, I will have this color with the G string on the fret number 2, so the voicing is on the G string fret number 2. The second color will be with the B string fret number 3. And the third color will be with the E string fret number 2. So this shape can give me 3 colors. I can also use the D major scale to add additional notes to the chord. So for example, I can have the D major played like this, so the first color, and then the second color could have the B string open, and then the B string fret number 2 with the third color, and then the fourth color with the fret number 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have the fifth color with the E string open, sixth color with the fret number 2, the seventh color with the fret number 3, and the 8th color with the fret number 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course guys, we can change the word color with the name of the chord. So I could have D5, D6, D major 7, D major, D sus 2, D major, D sus 4, and D5. But, you know, when we play all these different voicings, we don't really think all these different names. It's more about learning the finger's position. And so don't worry too much about the name of the chord. You can definitely analyze the notes and come up with a name, but it's not that we are going to be thinking all these different names as we are playing the chords. We can obviously do the same thing with the other chords. So for the E minor, we're going to have the first color, which is the G string open, then the fret number 2, the B string open, fret number 2, 3, E string open, fret number 2, and fret number 3. For the G major, we're going to do the same thing. G string open, fret number 2, B string open, fret number 2, 3, E string open, fret number 2, fret number 3. Same thing for the A major. This time we're going to start with the G string, fret number 2, B string open, fret number 2, fret number 3, E string open, fret number 2, fret number 3, and fret number 5. Now the B minor is a little bit more challenging as we have a bar chord, so we can have the G string fret number 4, the B string fret number 2, 3, E string open, and the fret number 2 on the E string. So in step 1, make sure that you familiarize yourself with the chords. You can use the most simple strumming pattern. It's more about making sure that you strike the correct number of strings. So then you can move on to the next chord, E minor. The G major. And then we could go back to the D. And the A major. And the D major. Of course, once we have all these chords and all these colors available, even the most simple strumming pattern would sound interesting and musical. So I think the next step will be to just add a little bit more rhythm, like this. You don't have to play quiet all the time. Now, one of the most challenging aspects is probably, the strumming itself. Trying to strum all the way up to the string that is giving you the color that you want. So for example, if I have to strum all the chords with the B string as the voicing, it's going to be way more challenging. So I'm gonna have to have the D major played like this. And I have to make sure that the E string is muted. Now for the D major, things are pretty simple because, we can just lightly touch the top E string with the finger and it will be okay. But also with the strumming, we have to make sure that we control it properly. E minor. I'm gonna keep the voicing on the B string. G major. I strum the strings with the index finger, so I don't use a guitar pick. I use the right side of the fingernail and the flash. So it's kind of pretty easy to control it when you use the finger, at least for me. You can also use a guitar pick if you want. The approach is the same, even though, I'm not really a fan of how loud the guitar pick is. You can hear right away how different it sounds. I really love just the finger. Now, the last step obviously will be to implement the B minor chord, which is going to be a little bit more challenging as it's a bar chord. But one chord progression that is beautiful to use is just the B minor. The G major. The D major. And the A major. So this is definitely a quite interesting way to make your strumming pattern more musical. With this exercise though, it can be challenging to strum just a certain number of strings. So really take it step by step, guys. Enjoy the most simple strum with the different voicings. And don't be scared to spend time just strumming the chords slowly like this. It's a great exercise that is going to give you just a basic technique. And then as you become better and more confident, you can then apply more challenging strumming with all these different chords. Now I'm going to leave you to practice this. Take it step by step, guys. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time.